Welcome to Third Song In with Chris Derrickson and Tom Polachek. We are happy to welcome our third Armstrong as a guest on the show. Sloan Armstrong is a horror enthusiast, a foodie, and a lifelong artist who lives in Roseburg, Oregon. Sloan was born and raised all over the Midwest, if I recall correctly, and has found their way to the southern edge of Oregon. He currently works as a freelance graphic designer, artist, and content creator. Sloan earned a BFA in sculpture at the Minneapolis College of Art and Design in 2015. Also, our third Armstrong.
You've almost got the full set now.
You got the family record is now set, maybe further than I suppose Chris and I might be able to approach that record someday, but our children and relatives don't want anything to do with this podcast. So I think the Armstrongs are safe. Welcome, Sloan.
Thank you. Thank you. It is so great to be here with you, Tom, a man who I have known since I was a literal infant, I think, and you, Chris Derrickson, the man who fumbled my mom in college. Got to hear all about that on this.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
Good night, everybody.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Your mom always says to remind me to be nice to Chris. So I may have to remind Sloan to be nice to Chris.
Yeah, just.
I promise.
You know what? I'm okay with it. I'm okay with
it. Tom's okay with it. No, she actually, I was going to make that joke anyway, but I was on the phone with her the other day. She was like, "You're going to make a joke to Chris, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was going to do it anyway, but I'm extra going to do it now." But.
All right.
I respect you that much more for jumping right into
it. If you can't approach things with a laugh, what can you approach them?
Especially these days. Yep. Oops.
Yeah, no kidding.
So how did you get to Oregon?
It's a long and strange story, but let me summarize it this way. I did not like my job in Minneapolis. I was having a bad time. I fell in love. I made it out to Oregon. I fell out of love, and I decided I liked Oregon so much that I stayed. And I think it was probably Oregon more than anything that I fell in love with when I came here.
Yeah.
Like, the people are so different in a way. The culture is a lot different. And my God, I live in Roseburg, which is a tiny, tiny town in Southern Oregon. It's like 25,000 people, I think, but it is gorgeous out here.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous. And
how close is Roseburg to Medford, Oregon?
It is 2 hours north of Medford.
Okay.
Sure.
When I was a child, for about 2 years, I want to say roughly second and third grades, I lived in Oregon with my family, and we lived in Medford. And that's, I don't know, 7, 8 years old. Formative years, but not necessarily years where you get a good sense of the place you're in. And I still always think of Oregon as being one of the places I love the most. I've lived all over the country, and all I remember is in that very short period of time, we went skiing every weekend in the winter, and we went camping every weekend in the summer, and it was beautiful no matter what we did. I love that state. I would love to go back.
Yeah, I always tell people I'm from Chicago, and they ask me if I miss the snow, and I tell them I don't have to scrape the rain off my car. If I want the snow, I'll go find it. And
so you graduated from art school.
I did.
And I know you were working for your school for a bit after that, and then obviously there was this transition to Oregon. And as I understand it, you are putting your lifelong art skills to use in a number of different ways right now. Tell me what you're doing artistically.
Yeah, so right now, last year, I started an online business and registered it with the state and everything, which is so crazy. But it's called Little Scrunks. And at the time, I was kind of bouncing between temp jobs. And I had come to a point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to start something else. So I started this online business making these little felt balls, basically, with eyeballs and little smiles that look at you and love you. And that's where I started. Since then, it has kind of grown and developed outside of my control into like a largely bug-based business. So my most popular product by hundreds of sales is weevils. I made a weevil one time out of felt just because I thought they were a funny bug, and I put it online, and that drove everything for most of last year and into
Is that
this
right?
year. Yeah, absolutely. And I love bugs. I think they're fascinating, but it was not something that I really anticipated being the thing that kind of launched things off. And so now I get orders from entomologists or people learning to be
Really?
entomologists. Yeah, like bug enthusiasts, or a lot of times I'll have like a mom ordering a weevil and say, "This is my kid's favorite bug. Can you do this specific species of weevil?" And it's, of course. It makes me very, very happy.
What's the
But
process when you get a kind of a special order like that? Do you work from photographs? Do you have kind of already, because you've been doing it for a while, do you have patterns or things that you know will work? How do you come about, particularly when you get a bug you haven't, or a creature of any sort that you haven't done
yeah,
before?
well, that brings to mind right now I'm working on a stegosaurus, which is one that I've never done
Ah,
before. Yeah, so I'm working a lot from photos. I've got my dual monitor set up for graphic design, but I just slap up two pictures. And that's kind of the hardest part. Like the weevils, I could think I could make in my sleep at this point. Most types of
hmm.
weevils, it's, a little kind of bean-shaped body that you start with. But a stegosaurus has, like what does it look like from the top down? What does it look like from the bottom? What does it look like from either side? And that's something that I think is so crucial in all types of 3D art, is kind of tackling things from all angles and making sure that each angle makes as much sense as another one.
When you were studying art,
Mhm.
were you studying sculpture or three-dimensional art? Were you focusing on in that particular area, or is this something that kind of came about more organically as you were?
I went into art school thinking I wanted to be a comic artist or an illustrator. And my freshman year, I took I think my first semester of college, I took an intro to 3D class. And it made such an impression on me that I was
Hmm.
like, nope, all that's out the window. We got to do sculpture now. Which, looking back on it, and this is such a theme in looking back on my art, it all is just coming back together in a weird way right now. But looking back on my art, I always had been more of a sculptor than I had been interested in drawing. I just thought drawing
Hmm.
was the thing that would be more successful. But my first, I think, hustle as a kid was gluing eyeballs on rocks and selling them to my classmates for a
Yes.
dollar. I think my mom still has some of those,
That's
probably.
fine. I think I
Yeah.
remember those actually. I have this
Yeah.
vague recollection of like a graduation party. I think it was your graduation party, probably from high school.
Yeah.
And my kids were littler, and there was a kind of a craft table set up, and I think it was my kids loved it, but I think it was kind of more set up for you and your friends than it actually was for any little ones.
Probably. I think, especially just talking of, I think the joy is all the same, right? Like you put the right adult and the right kid at a table with a pile of pipe cleaners in front of them, they're gonna have a good time. And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm accessing that a little bit with what I'm doing now.
So this endeavor that you have, is there a company name that we need the listeners to know?
Yes. Yeah, it is Little Scrunks. So Skrunks. And a lot of people ask, what is a scrunk? It's like an internet slang meme term for something that is like kind of cute but kind of ugly or crusty.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so like scrunkly, it's like, oh, you're like gross and cute at the same time, like a crusty white dog
Cool.
or something. I don't know, but it seemed like the right thing for these weird little creatures that I was
Yeah,
making.
sounds perfect.
And
Sounds
more than
perfect.
anything, yeah, it made me smile, and that's kind of what this whole thing is about, is smiling.
So is this still a kind of a solo endeavor on your part? Do you have other people that help you in terms of the production of the actual pieces?
Right now, this is all me.
All you. Cool.
My beautiful fiance Fritz and my best friend Lucas helped me out with the last big fair that I did, which is the Black Sheep Gathering in Albany. But other than that, I make them, I ship them, I promote them. I did all my own graphic design for it, and that has been so incredibly rewarding, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of cool to have that thing that's all yours. Obviously, you need a little help here and there, but
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
when someone sees a little scrunk, they know it's handmade by you and from start to finish.
Genuine Sloan Armstrong artwork.
So where can people find you, either on social media, on the internet? What's a good place to find the little scrunks?
You can find me basically anywhere under the handle Little Scrunks. Believe it or not snapped up already. But I'm most active on TikTok. You can also find me on Instagram, on Blue Sky, on YouTube, and then on Shopify at littleskrunks.com and on Etsy as Little Scrunks. Yep.
And this is an awesome thing for Third Song In. This is our first promo code on our podcast. We've never been able to tell people there's a promo code.
Yeah, so listeners of Third Song In can use the code Third Scrunk In to get 10% off of any order, kind of indefinitely for right now. I'll probably cut that off at the end of the year. But if you're looking for a gift for the person who has everything, I can guarantee you they don't have what I got. So
that's awesome. I want to use the code. I want to use my own promo code.
Absolutely.
All right, so let me ask you a question that relates to your art and kind of not only where you are now, but how you got there. You are kind of out and proudly non-binary.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't recall specifically when you came out and let the world know that, but it's been quite some time at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I know your parents are very proud of you because I am good friends with Mr. and Mrs. Armstrong. And I know that they've been out to visit you a couple times, and they're very supportive of Little Scrunks and everything that you're doing. But I imagine that there may have been some challenges as you tried to get from where you were, particularly upon graduation from art school, and ending up where you are right now so far. What kind of challenges would you say, or how does it affect your art, I guess, is what I'm interested in.
Yeah, people used to ask me that when I was in college, and I would think it has nothing to do with the kind of art that I want to do. But when I look back at the kind of art that I was making, which were these big, blank, kind of featureless except for eyes figures, it's been a part of it the whole time, I think.
Yeah.
I think there's always been like a sense somewhere deep in my subconscious that I was not being perceived as I wanted to be perceived. And so I had these sculptures that just could only look. They couldn't talk. They didn't have any distinguishing features. They could just look. And I think that sense of like non-identity has played a huge role in everything that I do moving forward. I think there was like a sense of loneliness that came from some of the mental health stuff I was dealing with back then, as well as the alienation of where I was at with my gender, which I don't think you mentioned. I identify as non-binary and queer broadly. And of course, at art school, I wasn't really alone that way, but I think in the greater culture, it wasn't as common to be non-binary at that time. It was becoming more and more common, but there was always a sense of not belonging, I think. And when I look at what I do now, which is, more blob creatures with eyes and very few other features, but they're smiling now because I feel like I found that peace within myself and a way to share the joy of that authenticity with the world at large.
And how about, is the community in Roseburg, is it fairly do you have a community in Roseburg that's welcoming in that way?
Yes, absolutely. More people than you would think. There's a lot of trans youth here in particular, and I'm getting involved with our local arts center to do some classes and potentially work with the LGBT youth art show next year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is very cool. Yeah,
that's
actually
very cool.
I'm going to be co-teaching a class for 5 to 8-year-olds next month, and I'm over the moon about it. I'm so excited. I personally am a little bit of a hermit and I don't leave the house, but my partner has led a trans support group and then a LGBT support group. So there's a lot going on here in Roseburg, particularly, even just outside of my immediate friend group who are all also queer, I think they wouldn't mind me saying. Yeah.
Cool. So what does the future look like for Little Scrunks or some other, I guess, endeavor that's associated with your online presence and what you've already got started?
I'm trying to do more shows and more workshops and more classes and get a little bit more going on YouTube as well. So just kind of a slow build into social media and teaching. And down the line, somewhere out there, I can see it. I would like to get a master's degree and maybe teach in a more formal capacity.
Great.
Get a little bit more capital S sculpture under my belt.
Is it, can we tell people then to go to littleskrunks.com, for example, to find shows, upcoming shows by the time this comes out? I'm sure there will be other shows. There'll be other opportunities to meet you in person and to see the material.
Yeah, I would go to, that's actually a great idea. I've only done one show a year so far, so I haven't bothered to put too much up on the website, but I'm going to start updating that with where I'll be and when. That's also a great place to go and see kind of a backlog of all of the things that I have made, custom pieces and otherwise. I have a very big photo gallery up there. That's the most up-to-date place. I do also have a Patreon at Little Skrunks. I'm not as terribly active on there as I'd like. I'm still getting all my ducks in a row. But if you want to, leave a little tip, that's a good place to go if you like what I'm doing.
And we will have as many of those places and links as we can get on our website on thirdsonginpodcast.com. We have an as mentioned page. Sloan will have a section it'll be, by the time this comes out, it'll already be up. So if you want to go there, you'll be able to click on littleskrunks.com. We'll make sure that you have access to the TikTok and any other social media that you have. So please look on our website if you're looking for the links.
Please do. I'd love to see you.
And as with all of our guests, we have the joy of doing a playlist with Sloan. We let our guests decide on a playlist topic, and I absolutely love the one that Sloan has chosen for us. It's going to be titled Absolute Shit Kickers. And I had some fun with this one, although I'm afraid I may not even be able to compete. Sloan's got some stuff going on here. I'm excited.
Yeah, you sent us your picks in advance as I asked, and I have to admit I hadn't heard of any of the bands, and when I listened to them, I got a little scared.
I was picking them out and I was like, oh, this is incredibly heavy stuff. I hope this is in line with everything else. But I don't know. Weirdly, I am a horror enthusiast, but I'm very fearful of social interaction. So these are the songs that I would listen to in my car before going to work, my temp job at the hospital cafeteria, just to be brave.
Yes, I think you and Chris are much more in line than perhaps I am when you hear our picks. But I was a little surprised. I actually guess I didn't know your musical taste. And I do know your parents' musical taste, which tends towards show tunes and Bing Crosby would be the best way I would put it. So I have to admit, I was a little shocked when I saw these names that I didn't recognize. And then I listened to the songs and I texted Chris, who I knew hadn't had a chance to listen to them yet. And I said, Sloan is hard.
I will say I do listen across the board. That guy I'm thinking of, he's a Canadian maritimer, Stan Rogers. I listen from Stan Rogers to this and to all the way across the board from that to that. I don't find myself needing to listen to these quite as often, but these are 4 of my favorite bands in that vein.
So the way we handle these is our honored guest will go first. We'll alternate our picks. We'll make a 10-song playlist. It will be called Absolute Shit Kickers, a third song in playlist. And anybody who's interested and is, I would say, over the age of 18, you'll be able to find them streaming wherever you stream your music. So Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, YouTube Music, etc. But as I said, the honor goes to you, Sloan. And what is your first pick for our special playlist?
Yes, absolutely. So we'll start off with maybe the softest one on the playlist, which is Awakening by a band called Unleash the Archers. They're a metal band, but I would put them more edging towards power metal, and this album is a fantasy concept album, but just really great driving percussion and guitar in this, and then just a female vocalist that don't quit. She's incredible. I really like the whole album. This is probably my favorite song on it.
Dee, did you get a chance to listen to any of the 4 songs? before?
Just very briefly, but this one I did, and I agree. This is a great choice. I tried so hard to find because Sloan will find out when I pick on my damn songs. I
Hmm.
have a, I swear I'm not a misogynist, but I listen to male singers way more than I do to female singers, and I always try my hardest. And that was one of the bands I researched. And there's plenty of great female metal singers, so I
Mhm.
wasn't saying that, but I didn't want to be disingenuous and choose a song that I wasn't really into or aware of. So I went with all
Speak-
dudes. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Well, it's
Speaking
got
of
to
hard stuff,
be percentage wise, right? There can't, I know there are female metal bands, I know there are female metal singers, but in terms of the percentages, it's got to be a very small minority, I would assume.
yeah, I think in terms of like exposure to people kind of expect a male lead, which, that's just the way the industry is. I do believe this is harder than anything on this list. And I don't listen to it a lot for that reason, but I believe Cattle Decapitation, which what a name, my God, has a transgender female vocalist, which is very
Nice.
cool. So best of
Yeah.
both worlds there.
I think I listen to male singers because I often imagine myself as the singer. Like I wish I could have been a rock star, but I had zero chance for that because, a lot of reasons. But so I think that that's what it is. I'm not purposefully excluding female or others, but that's my excuse.
Mhm.
I'll stick with it. So,
So, what is the second pick for this playlist then, Chris?
second pick for me is a band out of Seattle called Dragged Under, and the song Instability. And I chose it for the most juvenile of reasons. One, it's hard rocking, but I love songs that have, whether it's real or contrived, it starts out with their jam, and then all of a sudden the lead singer goes, "Oh, what the fuck? Come on!" And then they kick off the song again.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. There's a couple songs that I really dig where it seems like they screw up and they keep going, and they say the word fuck. So let's go.
It's got
F
everything
bombs
you
are
want
good.
right there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's the simple
But
things in life, really.
it is the simple things. And this one, not as heavy as some of the stuff that Sloan suggested, but it'll hold its own.
Well, and I definitely am going to be pulling up the rear in terms of how hard rocking my songs are. But these are pretty much the most rock and roll songs that I listen to in my list. They don't match up to kind of the thrash and the just hardcore drums I was hearing in a lot of your picks, Sloan. But they are kick-ass songs, and they do get me fired up. And the first one of those is from the Black Keys, called 10 a.m. Automatic, from the album Rubber Factory, which came out in 2004. I like the Black Keys a lot, and this is probably my favorite of their songs. But it is one of those where if it comes on in the car, I have to turn it up, and I probably end up driving at least 10 miles faster an hour than I would have otherwise.
Absolutely.
Which takes us back to you, Sloan, and your second pick for the playlist.
Yeah, so my second pick is probably my favorite song of the ones that I picked, which is Ruana Te Whenua by Alien Weaponry, which is a Maori band out of New Zealand, I believe.
Hmm.
It is entirely in the Maori language, but it's got this incredible, there's like a name for it, but there's a spot in the middle where everything kind of slows down. And whatever they do with their guitars sounds like a church bell. And it's just so heavy. It's incredible. If this one comes on in the car, a conversation is stopping. I'm turning it all the way up. I'm going to another place for a while. But
Very
This is the one
nice.
I listened to where I think it's right after that one I texted Chris went, she's going hard on this one, man.
yeah, that's I think the introduction to it, which is in Maori, is it's a haka, which is if you ever see like the New Zealand All Blacks, the rugby team, doing their hakas on the field, it's that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I'm not sure exactly, but I'm pretty sure I should have read about it before we got on this, but there you
That's
go.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very cool. Very, very cool.
All right, I'm
D-Man.
up. So I mentioned this in a blog. I think it was a mid-year blog, and I couldn't not put it on. So I went with Violent Nature by I Prevail. There's another song of theirs I really like called Pray. I feel like I can listen to these guys even though they're a little more popular than I prefer because they have a new lead singer, so it's almost like they're a new band. So I feel like I can embrace them at this turning point, and I dig this guy. I think he's in the band before, but he's doing all the vocalizing now, and I love. There's a lot of f-bombs, a lot of violent, and I know we're not, encouraging violence, but when you're sitting in your car, because as the other way that I think Sloan and I can connect is I hate people. So I don't, I don't. I get my loudest music going in the car, either going to work or wherever, and that's my little mini concert every morning. And this is one that I've been playing a lot lately. So I'm going
Cool.
with
Very cool.
Violent Nature.
All right. My next pick is from the band Bear Jr., which featured Bobby Bear Jr. The album is called Butte from 1998, and the song is "You Blew Me Off." Chris, I know you know this song. I
Yeah.
saw Bobby Bear do a solo show, and he played this song, and it was just loud, and the guitars were crunchy, and it went on forever. And it is really a great rocking song, I think, and it's one of those. I don't listen to as much kind of loud, raucous music as either of you two, it appears. But this is definitely one of them I put on when I'm, kind of in that mood. Next pick is from Sloan.
Yeah. All right. And then the next one I'm going to do is Wolf Totem by The Who. Not that Who, different Who. It's HU. This is so for a long time I've been very interested in Mongolian metal, which if you haven't heard of it, get into it. There's a lot of like throat singing, which is traditional in Mongolia. There's a lot of very interesting instruments that are traditional in Mongolia. There's a couple bands that I really like, but The Who is a newer one, and their song Wolf Totem is one that I really, really like. It just kind of blends the Mongolian and the Western music really, really well. It's a little bit slower, but if you're looking for like a song to go to war in your office job, that's a pretty good one. I like it a lot.
Your descriptions have made me commit to listening to all of those songs at least one more time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do it. I believe in you.
I now I feel like I have to because there's a lot more behind them than I was giving them credit for, I think.
Yeah.
I believe that Sloan is upping the game because sometimes we intimidate our guests where we talk about like the background of the songs and why we like them, and then people are like, "I chose this song," but you're
Yeah.
I
embracing
like
it.
it. I
You're
like it.
embracing it. I'm excited.
Make
Me
no
too.
mistake, I was so scared. I have like very little ego about most things these days because I put my art on the internet for a living. But one of the things that scares me the most is telling people about my music taste. Every time I'm
Mm.
like, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. So that's very good to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is awesome so far.
All right, I threw a curveball. So I had one song. So Tom and I were chatting ahead of time, and I love picking songs that Tom hates. And I'm not 100% sure how often Tom will listen to this list. I know that I will listen to it many more times than he will. So I decided to put my season playlist, which we do at the end of the episode. I pulled that one and put it on here. I purposefully was going to put that one on to piss Tom off. But there's a band out of Raleigh, not too far from where I am, called Between the Buried and Me. They did album, I think it's 2007, called Colors, and it was pretty popular. They came out 2021, I think, Colors 2, and my favorite song on that one is Monochrome. I love the songs where I there's probably a term for it, but you get sort of the soft, beautiful voice, and then you get the hard voice that just is
Hmm.
growling, and the lead singer for this band does that as well as anyone. It almost sounds operatic at the beginning, and then it's not operatic at all by the end. And I don't have any idea what he's saying at the end. I'm sure I could look up the lyrics. I hope I didn't pick anything offensive. I just love this song. This one I crank, and it's good for playlists. A lot of their songs are 7 to 12 minutes long. They prefer the long form. This one's only 3 minutes and 15 seconds or something like that. So even when Tom is hating it, he can get through it pretty quickly. So
I think it's insane that my three hardest songs are going to be like the short little mellow breaks in this playlist, so people can lay back and just take a breath for a second. Which takes me to my last pick for the playlist, which is a song from Kings of Leon from Youth and Young Manhood in 2003. I think that was their first release, or at least their first like label release. There's a song called Holy Roller Novocaine. And again, it just jams. It's just a really loud, fun. Again, I got to see them live once, probably 20 years ago. And they played this song, and it was just, the crowd was way into it, and everybody was jumping and mosh pitting and what have you. And as I said, compared to the stuff you guys are picking, it's kind of like a nice mellow reprieve, I think. But great song, and definitely for me a shit kicker. It's one of those I put on when I'm in a mood. Which now takes us to the finale, the final song for the playlist, and the honor goes to Sloan Armstrong.
Yeah, and so the last one I have, this is a new band to me. I actually found them last week, but the song is called this is new to me. I've never said it out loud before. I should. It's Tezcatlipoca by a band called Yodel Mictlan, which is an indigenous Mexican metal band. So
Wow.
some really cool stuff to explore with them. Kind of, same as all the other stuff I've picked for this, just very good guitar, very heavy percussion. And it's got this lead in where you feel like you're, I don't know, looking into a cavalry line or something. I like it when they start out a little bit slow and then kind of dunk you in it. But
I do too.
excited to get a little bit more into this band too.
Awesome. So that's our 10-song playlist. That is absolute shit kickers from third song in.
And I have to further commend Sloan. I don't remember now, but I was looking for songs earlier. I wasn't 100% happy with all my choices, so I was trying to figure out. And now I can't remember what the band was, but I remembered that I wasn't sure how to pronounce their name. And I was like, usually I don't care. Like, I'll embarrass myself all the time. But meeting you for the first time, I'm like, do I really want to embarrass myself as a old head who can't pronounce some band? So the fact that you took on the song and the name of that band and crushed it, kudos.
I'm impressed.
So.
I'm impressed. Yeah, I had the same problem. I actually had some honorable mentions, which again are pretty mellow compared to the songs you guys picked. But in particular, I was very close to picking "I Want to Be Your Dog," the version by Alejandro Escovedo. I mean, everybody's covered that, but Alejandro's version is awesome, and it's I've only heard it from "More Miles Than Money," which is a live album of his. And it's just loud and raucous, and you can tell the whole crowd is really into it. So I almost picked that, and I also almost picked "Time's Up" from Living Colour from their first album, which again is just a great, grinding rock song. But I'm still pretty happy with my picks, and like I said, people listening to this playlist are going to need to take a breather here and there. That's what I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty much what you're good for, Tom, is giving people a breather.
Yeah, if anybody wants to relax, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
There you go.
And for last one, and I'm sorry, but and I'm going to hesitate because I'm going to mispronounce it, but the indigenous Mexican metal band only has 977 subscribers. They now have 978. I love supporting the bands that don't get enough attention on these streaming services.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, Sloan. That's good. Hopefully I know we have a couple heavy metal listeners out there, including some former guests. So hopefully they'll check out those bands if they don't already know about them.
Yeah. Hope you all enjoy it. Or cower in fear, whatever works for you.
I'll be cowering in fear. Next up is Staff Picks.
Staff Picks is where Tom and I try to recreate the experience, going into old record stores, video stores, looking up on the board and seeing the recommendations from the folks that work there about what you should check out. So here we will introduce new music, new movies, new TV shows. So do we want to start with Sloan?
I believe Sloan has some picks for the listeners. So that's a good idea.
Does, yeah.
I do. I noticed you didn't say books, but I do have music as well.
Oh no, 100% books.
Oh, books are good.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Any sort of media.
Any sort of media. Cool. So I listen to audiobooks almost 8 hours a day because I work from home. I use heavily Audible and the library app and stuff. And I listen to a lot of horror stuff. And there was a book that kept coming up on all of my social media that I use called The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. Just so hyped, so incredibly hyped. And normally when a book is incredibly hyped, I give it some time to cool down. But when I
Makes
tell
sense.
you that this was a 24-hour audiobook that I listened to in like 4 days.
Wow.
Nice.
It was incredible. It was like it's a fantasy novel that kind of is a Suicide Squad sort of formula that follows a vampire, a sorcerer, a werewolf, an undead Templar knight, and an elf, and then this friar and this girl on this madcap adventure through kind of a fantastical version of medieval Europe. And it reads like a Tarantino novel. It's incredible.
Really?
It's one of my top three this year that I've listened to. I think it's optioned for a movie by James Cameron at this point. But
Wow.
yeah, and I was absolutely blown away by it. I was laughing out loud. I was falling in love with all of the characters. If you are into fantasy and a little bit of gore, there's definitely a little bit of gore in there. But also incredible character development, just cool shit going on, cool monster lore. I cannot recommend The Devils by Joe Abercrombie enough.
I am adding it to my Goodreads list as we speak.
Yeah.
When I saw the
Just did
title,
the same. Yeah.
when I saw the title and I'd already listened to your music choices for the playlist, I thought, I'm not reading that book. That's going to scare the hell out of me. But
Yeah.
your description, I could take a little bit of gore, and it sounds like just a fun read. So I'm definitely throwing that on right now.
Yeah, I was incredibly pleasantly surprised. And like I said, I was laughing out loud at my desk, just giggling at some of these jokes and these characters. I really liked how he tackled it's a fresh take on not only vampire lore and werewolf lore, but also like this cool Frankenstein stand-in, this character named Jakob of Thorn, who I perceive to be a Frankenstein, but make your own judgments, listen to the book. It's very good.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. It also looks like it may be the first in a series, at least the way they're listing it in Goodreads.
God, I hope so. That would be amazing.
Cool.
I'm since finishing up another one of this author's trilogies because I'm just eating it up, and I'm thoroughly enjoying that as well.
Excellent. Well, as I understand it, you actually have a couple other staff picks for us. So
I do.
what do you
I
got?
didn't know if I'd get to share them. So this one is also probably these two occupy the same number one slot in my mind for books, but the Buffalo Hunter Hunter, the Buffalo Hunter Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones came out earlier this year, I think in March, and I'm a huge fan of Stephen Graham Jones. I love how he writes. I read someone say recently that he writes how people think, and that is so engaging, particularly in an audiobook. This is, I think, the fourth book of his that I've read, and you want to talk about like a fresh take on a vampire mythos, it doesn't get any better than the Buffalo Hunter Hunter. I would say that one's even a little bit gnarlier than the Devils, but it's so compelling and so gripping. I cannot recommend it enough.
Well, we kind of lulled you. We set a trap for you on this one because when I saw that on the list, we have already discussed that book because Chris already, I believe it was
No,
a
that's
staff
awesome.
pick.
Oh,
Right?
no!
That's why we wanted
No,
to talk.
that's
I wanted you
perfect.
to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we did. That wasn't to trap you in a bad way. That was because
Yeah.
I love that book. I thought,
Thank God.
I will say
Yeah.
this. I didn't, I was ever so slightly let down by the ending,
Mhm.
but the 95% before that was so great. I just thought, I'm not sure how else I would have wanted him to end the book, so that's not really
Mhm.
fair. But I don't know. It may have just been also that you get to the end of a book that you just don't want to end, and there's a level of disappointment. It's like when a TV show ends that you're so sad that it's over with. So, but gnarly I mean, it was just I love the way you described it, and I'm probably not going to get the words right, but you're right. It was like when you describe, like when I was describing it to Tom, it's like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like just but it was such a fantastic alternate take on the vampire story, and it was great. He's a wonderful writer, and I think Tom bought one of his the only good Indian. Is that the?
Yep.
Yes.
I was just going to chime in because I actually didn't buy it. You talked so much about that author and mentioned The Only Good Indians because you had read that previously, Chris.
Yep.
I was at the library for a different reason, and it was on display. So I have roughly 30 books sitting on my nightstand next to my bed that have to be read, and I checked it out and started reading it immediately. So I'm about a third of the way through that book, which I think preceded this one. I think it came out before Buffalo Hunter. But I do agree with you in terms of his writing style. Really enjoying the book. I don't know where it's going yet. As I said, I'm about a third of the way in, so I'm just getting into the good stuff, I think. But he's a great author to recommend, I can tell already.
And speaking of him, there's a trilogy he wrote. The first book is My Heart is a Chainsaw. That is also fantastic.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's, to me, I mean, I know this is horror, but really well done horror and or science fiction can be as culturally critical as anything else.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, when you describe to someone about what I think are really deep themes that he's dealing with, and you talk about it being about a vampire hunting, the buffalo hunters back in the day, they may not take it as seriously, but if you dive into his writing and his thinking, and he's a gift. He's a really great writer.
Just 2 days ago, I finished his shorter novella Mongrels, which is about a young werewolf coming of age in the southeastern United States. And that one is such a beautiful metaphor for so many different things, which is a shorter listen. So I think it's 5 to 8 hours. So if you're looking for a shorter audiobook to get into Stephen Graham Jones, I'd recommend that one.
You had one more staff
Oh,
pick?
yes, I had one more. This is also one that I discovered last week. This is a band called Castle Rat. And the thing that really engages me about it is the band and the lead singer all dress like Frank Frazetta, like Conan covers, just like chainmail bikinis and stuff. And the music is very like ambient, kind of 80s. I wouldn't say like power metal. It's like between rock and power metal, but it's just a lot of fun. Like I love that kind of a gag for a band, and I'm just very
Very cool.
engaged with it. So I'm going to be getting more into it, but I think they're also in a lower listener category on Spotify, so maybe go check them out. Just a lot of fun.
Cool. Awesome.
Definitely would do that.
Yeah, thanks for the staff picks.
You're welcome.
All right, Chris, you or me?
Me.
Go.
Mine's I had a hard time. I usually don't struggle with staff picks, but I don't know what I struggled with, but I ended up going with a new song by an old favorite, Clem Snide and Eve Barsley, which is just Clem Snide because he's always been, I don't know why he's breaking himself out from, because it's not even like he starts with Eve Barsley and Clem Snide, but now all of his songs or their songs or whatever it is, but it's the opposite of a shit kicker. It's actually, it's what they do lately, but I still like it. They're just weird and they're fun to listen to. But they did a Neutral Milk Hotel song called King of Carrot Flowers Part 1. Just came out. I don't know. I'd like them to get back to writing some of their own stuff, but I like Clem Snide. I don't know why. There's a bit of a. It seems like they could be writing really serious music, but all their songs are just a little off kilter, but just to the point where it's not annoying. And so check it out. It's a good song, and I'm hoping, like I said, I'm hoping they go back to putting out some original material, because lately it's been almost all covers, and they're all great covers. All the way back to, this is like, I started to love them and now I feel bad when they redid Journey's Faithfully, which was one of the best remakes ever. But they've been sort of stuck in that rut for a while. But I thought this was a good version.
Yeah, I don't think anybody plays music quite like Clem Snide.
Yeah, exactly.
And I agree with you. I like the original stuff that, is probably 20 years old now, 15 years old, something like that. And I haven't heard this one, so I'm going to look it up. Did it come out as a single, or was it part of it?
It's just a single, as far as I can tell. Yeah.
All right. Well, I completely changed my staff pick. I had one or two other things I still would like to recommend, but I have got to recommend a film I just watched on Sunday at the theater, because I think you need to go see it at the theater, and that is One Battle After Another. It's a Paul Thomas Anderson film. It's his newest film. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Teyana Taylor, who was awesome in a film I recommended as a staff pick, I think, quite a while ago, called 1001. Benicio del Toro has a small role and knocks it out of the park. There's a girl who her character is like 16 or 17, and my guess is that's roughly her age. She might be a little bit older. She plays Willa, Leonardo DiCaprio's daughter, and she is amazing. I think it's her first feature film. She is absolutely phenomenal in this role. The movie is 2 hours and 45 minutes, which I am never a fan of, and I will tell you it's worth every minute. It didn't feel like a 2 hours and 20-minute movie. Everything is just, there's constant propulsive action and plot going forward. And with most movies that are 2.5 hours long, I can pick out 20 minutes that I would axe immediately as an editor, which is how I feel pretty much about every Tarantino movie since probably Reservoir Dogs. It doesn't mean I don't love the movies, but they should be shorter. I can't figure out in this film what you would cut that wouldn't keep everything moving the way it's supposed to. So I recommend it highly. It's called One Battle After Another, still in theaters. Well, all right, it's still in theaters as of the end of September. This will be coming out in roughly 3 or 4 weeks from now. I hope it's still in the theaters because it deserves a long run. But if not, if it's streaming, watch it tonight.
Sounds good. I've been seeing a lot of previews for it, and some of them are a little bizarre. I was a little confused, which doesn't take much these days. But once I figured out what it was, I definitely want to see it.
I saw a trailer, and the trailer, I won't say it was misleading, but there was just so much going on in the trailer, I couldn't quite figure out whether I wanted to see the movie. I read a couple good reviews, and there's the guy I recommended some time ago named Shea Serrano, who does a weekly blog on Substack, and he put out a quick email in the middle of the week last week and said, "This is Best Picture material," and that's what convinced me to go see it, and I'm happy I did. I think it should get nominations for multiple Oscars, in my opinion.
And that'll bring us to Loft of Wisdom.
You better open up your eyes, babe, because fools do get wise.
So Loft of Wisdom is our favorite quotes from songs, quotes from books, quotes from films, quotes from some guy we heard walking down the street on a Sunday. Sometimes quotes from t-shirts, if I'm not mistaken. So what is your quote for the Loft of Wisdom, Chris, this week?
Well, as I was searching for, the best shit kicker that I could find, listen to a variety of things, and one of the songs that I almost included, but then decided just to go with the quote, was by the Menzingers out of Scranton, Pennsylvania, a punk band, been around for quite some time. And they have a 2019 song called America, You're Freaking Me Out. And I'm pretty much going with the title track quote, America, I love you, but you're freaking me out. I don't know a more apt quote than that right now. So don't want to bring us down. Got some good vibes going on, but fuck, what is going on with this country?
Holy hell.
And that was a good 6 years ago. So that'd have been first Trump or right after.
Yeah.
Keep us going, Tom. Keep the vibes going.
My quote is, I guess, kind of similar now that I think about it, but I've been holding on to this one for the last couple of episodes just because I think it's hilarious. There is a British comedy half hour from it's called Extraordinary. And the premise of the show is that everybody has superpowers except for the lead character in this show, whose name is Jen. So everybody she knows, everybody in her family, everybody on the street everybody has a single superpower, and she does not. I think it was only a single season. I don't think there was a second season. It came out in 2023, and I haven't heard, sometimes with streaming shows, that just takes a while for the second season to show up. So I got my fingers crossed. But Jen's best friend is named Carrie. And at one point, Carrie is kind of giving Jen the business because she's always creating chaos and just being a little bit crazy. And she says to Jen, "You can't get everything by calling in a bomb threat. We're not in school anymore." I fucking love that line. I laughed out loud when I heard it. And I think it's a great show. And I think that it'll look nice on the Loft of Wisdom. Sloan, cannot thank you enough for being our third Armstrong on this show. You're going to put your parents to the test. If they come back, they've got a high mountain to climb now, in my opinion.
Listen, I've been frothing at the mouth ever since you had one of my parents on the show. I was like, I have it in. They've already let Armstrong on. So it has been such a pleasure. So happy to finally be here, and thanks for talking with me today.
Well, it's not only been a pleasure, but you're easily my favorite Armstrong guest that's ever been on the show. And
Nice.
I say that with all sincerity, because it's just been such an interesting conversation, and I appreciate my fellow introverts and folks who take stuff like music so seriously, but then get a little nervous about sharing it. And thanks for letting us, giving us some insight into you, and at least for me, being able to. I know we just met, but I've seen a lot about you over the years from stuff your mom's posted and everything else about how creative you are and everything. And she didn't state it enough. So this has been great, and I do hope we can have you back on the show.
Yes.
Yeah, or maybe we'll travel to Oregon and do a live remote with Sloan in Oregon. That's what I want.
Hey, there you go. Yeah.
We'll have to fight our way through the troops that are there, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, and the wildfires, and
we'll have to land in war-torn Portland and see if we can make our way
see if you
through.
make it to me, if you can make it through Portland.
Yeah.
Here, it's raised to the ground by this point.
Now we're ready for post facto.
It's a mistake. It's a mistake.
Post factos, where Tom and I correct mistakes that we made in a previous episode, follow up on things we mentioned, maybe didn't have a complete, fully formed thought, which happens all the time with us. And as is usually the case, I have either just chosen to ignore my mistakes or I don't have any. I'm going to go with the first one.
You're perfect. That's the message I get every week is, yeah, Chris is perfect.
Or I just don't care.
Or you don't give a fuck. So I have two things for post facto. Both are comments from listeners and former guests. The first is with respect to our greatest of all time episode a few weeks back. You asked me if I had ever seen Troy Polamalu play for the Steelers, being an all-time great defensive back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I said I thought I saw him at one of the games I went to in Kansas City way back. And Joe Pay texted me to remind me that we saw that game in 1997. He and I met. We drove from his place in St. Louis to get to Kansas City for that game. And it was all the way back in 97, which I can only respond with, holy shit, was that a long time ago? And Polamalu didn't enter the league until 2004. So it is still possible I may have seen him at a game or a preseason game in Chicago, but I don't think so. I think I managed to miss his career for some reason in terms of seeing him live. But Joe corrected that, and just before this episode, coincidentally, I received a text from Sloan Armstrong's father, Andy, and I would say it was more in the form of a complaint because he just listened to our episode about romantic comedies, and his response was nothing about Sandra Bullock. And you know what? He's right. I don't think we mentioned Sandra Bullock once, and she was definitely one of the rom-com queens for at least a 5 or 10 year period of time.
Yeah, so I guess I'm certain that I was thinking about Sandra Bullock, at least when I was preparing for the episode, because what's the one where she's the FBI agent and she goes undercover in the beauty pageant?
Oh yeah. That's with
they did two of those.
Jeez, is it? Oh, was it Miss Congeniality?
Miss Congeniality. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
feel like that. I mean, I feel like that has the love story was one of the storylines in it. I mean, it was a great movie. I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure and then there's the one where she with the proposal where she was with Ryan Reynolds. We mentioned Speed in some other episode. She was
but again, not a rom-com as far as I'm concerned.
not in the rom-com episode. You're right.
I'd say, I'm looking at her IMDb list, and really, to me, that The Proposal is one of the only true rom-coms that I think she was in, to tell you the truth. I mean, a lot of stuff are more just straight romantic movies, or I mean, I guess she's a great actress. I like her. But you know what? I kind of stand by it. You know what? I'm trying to look at what else. She's in full-on comedies like The Heat,
Yeah.
lots of dramas. I'm trying to see if there's other stuff there that
She was in with the king of romance comedies, Hugh Grant, in 2 Weeks' Notice, but I never saw that.
yeah, that probably counts. That probably is a rom-com would be my guess. All right. Anyway, sorry, Andy, we didn't mention Sandra Bullock. Get your own podcast. You can talk about her all you want. Next up are our playlist picks. Every episode, Chris and I each pick a song to add to our season-long playlist. This is the penultimate episode of season 9, and we each have a song that we have, I think, tried to select in accordance with the special playlist theme of absolute shit kickers. At least that was my approach to it. I chose the song This Land by Gary Clark Jr. from the album This Land, which came out in 2019. As far as I'm concerned, this is just more ass-kicking guitar, rock and roll. It's a bit of a political song, but it also just rocks really hard. And I was very close to putting this in the special playlist, and I decided to pull it out and save it for our season 9 playlist.
All right, for my playlist pick, I went with something a little more in line with what I listen to most of the time, which is some punk-based Americana. I went with the band Rumbleseat and their song Cursing Concrete, which is just one of my favorites. It's all acoustic, but it's Chuck Reagan and Chris Wallard, just not quite screaming, but in the spirit of not screaming at the level of some of the songs that we just discussed with Sloan, but to a point where I feel like it's a true shit kicker. And there's several songs on that one album that the band Rumbleseed did, which I could have included. I thought about Trestles, but I decided to go with Cursing Concrete, and I'm damn proud of it. So look forward to it on the season 9 playlist, which you can find on any of the various streaming services that you can also find the podcast on. All right, that brings us to the end of the episode, Mr. Politic.
Yeah, I want to once again thank Sloan Armstrong for appearing on the podcast. I had a great time. The special playlist we created is going to haunt my nightmares, I think. But I did ask Sloan to keep us advised of any new projects, any new websites, any new creations. Love to have them back on the show. And you can find Sloan's creations at littleskrunks.com. And if you search Little Skrunks on Etsy, you can find lots of their work. Email directly at littleskrunks@gmail.com. And also look at our As Mentioned page on thirdsonginpodcast.com, because we will have all those links there to make it easy for you to find all of the little crazy insect animal creatures that they have been creating over the last few years.
Third Song In is recorded in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Joliet, Illinois, and Roseburg, Oregon.
You can email us your questions, your comments, and your suggestions at thirdsongin@gmail.com.
You can also check out our website, thirdsonginpodcast.com. Since we just talked to Sloan, check out the As Mentioned page for links and information, especially about all the Little Skrunks stuff.
Follow us, rate and review the podcast wherever you do listen to it. Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, etc. Please don't make me come to your house and take your stars. Just give them to us, will you?
Sloan would want you to give us your stars. We'd also ask you to share our playlists. For guest episodes like this one, we create a special playlist where the guest chooses the theme, and we put together a playlist together. This one's going to be called Absolute Shit Kickers. You can also find it by searching for Third Song In playlists. We also have a playlist for every season. We're on season 9, wrapping it up. This was a really good second to last episode. And you can find those playlists on all the same places: Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and YouTube Music.
And if you do have difficulty searching in those platforms,
Yeah.
and some people tell me they do, you can also find links to the season-long playlists and the special playlists on our website. So you can always go to thirdsonginpodcast.com. One of the pages is, I think, where to listen. And you can also find the special playlists on our As Mentioned page. You can find Third Song In on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky. We try to supplement both the podcast and our weekly blogs with information and links, both to stuff we're doing and stuff that our former and future guests have going on.
Tom and I also write a blog each week, take turns. You can find it on our website, which we already mentioned. You can also subscribe to our blog on Substack and either access it through the app or receive it directly in your email if you subscribe to us.
I want to take a second in our penultimate episode and thank everybody who's been listening to us for the last 2 years. If you are a regular listener, you know, Chris and I spend a lot of time joking about our listener numbers, but the reality is I don't think, at least I, ever thought we would have so many people tune in once a week just to hear us ramble on about pop culture stuff. So thanks to everybody who tunes in, and please let others know.
Yeah, and I echo that thanks. Tom and I are really fortunate to have such a loyal fan base, and I'd prefer having such a loyal and dedicated fan base than having a really large, I don't know what it was.
Really large group of assholes.
I was going to say that. And then I was like, do I really want to say that? Whatever. All right. Well, we ask you to tune in for our season 9 finale next week. That's crazy to think about. It's our 90th episode, and Joe Pay returns to talk Cheers with Tom and I. We can't wait.
You've been listening to Third Song In with Chris Derrickson and Tom Polachek. Thanks for listening.
Pull it open this bitch.
I'm going to do this. Watch this. This is going to be fucking awesome.
Doubt it.
We are happy to welcome our third Armstrong. Did you fucking talk while I started? You son of a bitch. I don't know. Or maybe this is possible. Maybe we just suck at it.
That's possible.
I mean, it's something to consider.
If any of our listeners are still hanging on, email us if you think we suck. Hold on one second.
I'm going to hold on a second here. Holding. Still holding.
I'd prefer having such a loyal and dedicated fan base than having a really large, I don't know what it was.
Really large group of assholes.
I was going to say that. And then I was like, do I really want to say that? Whatever.